Hey, what's up? Normal America Show. We're doing a karaoke stream tonight. Should. It'd probably be more entertaining. Great to see you all. Glad to be here. Finally home. My goodness. What a stretch at work. Nice to be home, have my setup, be in front of my computer. I don't know, I've been a crab ass the past couple days. Hopefully someone calls in and I can just wreck them tonight. It would be fantastic. We'll see. We'll try to chum in some lefties. Or I don't even care, a right-winger, a fake moderate, some bullshit. Whatever. Whatever we need. What's up, everyone? It's great to be here. I feel like I'm going through a villain stage. It's nice. It's sort of nice. Sometimes it's a bit much. Sometimes I'm flying off the handle a little too quick, maybe. I know, Papa Zen, is that what I need? True story. I went to this bachelor party. It wasn't like anything untoward. It was literally just we got a cabin sort of in the state park here near where I live, and a bunch of guys showed up. We did like tacos and shit, and we drank for 2 nights. It was a lot of fun. Had a good time. My wife sent me with a Zin, a pack of Zin. Now, I don't smoke. So I was like, she even got the weak ones. Apparently there's multiple strengths, so she got the weak Zins. And I popped one in. I was sick for an hour and a half, man. For real. Off of one stupid-ass Zin pouch. It was... yeah, I hear you, Vita. I'm weak, man. I'm weak. Definitely weak. I can't drink like I used to either. But when you're an alcoholic and then you're not anymore, I guess, you know... I don't know. I say I was an alcoholic. I was. Like, I drank way too much. I was a binge drinker. But it was never like I felt like I had to drink every day. It's just when I did drink, I drank a ton. You know, so. But anyways, here we are. Normal America Show. Rob Noerr. Am I still debating COVID? Yeah, I guess so. I think it's going to be this Saturday. I never stream on Saturdays, but I weirdly got this Saturday off. So I'm going to try to... What is tomorrow? Is today Thursday? Today's Thursday, right? Am I right about that? Thursday. Yeah, today's Thursday. Okay, yeah, I should be good. No, I don't smoke. I've never smoked. I've smoked a cigarette here or there. I've smoked a cigar here and there, and I've put a rip of chaw in my younger ages, like maybe twice in my entire life. But no, nothing nicotine related, really. Yeah, I guess we'll talk about the little drama that I'm involved with Elder Drazi. It's nothing. It's a fucking joke. It's not a big deal at all. I did this panel a while back. So we'll start at the beginning. There's this organization called Progressive Victory PAC, and they basically pay a bunch of streamers they paid a bunch of streamers to be advocates for progressives and the Democrats, whatever shit. Wick's one of them. I like Wick. I don't mind him. He has panels. He has me on a panel. We're going to be talking about whether or not our institutions are trustworthy or corrupt. I forget what the exact wording was. That was the topic. I go on. Brianna Wu was one of the people that was instrumental in setting people up with Progressive Victory PAC. Wick's one of the people that's paid by them. Connor from Counterpoints was supposed to be on there. He's paid by Progressive Victory PAC. So basically the panel was set up as like 4v1 with the moderator also being on their side. Connor dropped out. This dude named Elder Drazi comes in. Panel's basically me versus 4 people. They're getting blown out. So Wick decides to basically become a debater as the moderator. He jumps in on their side. Laughter ensues. They look like stupid assholes. My point is, this is the best Progressive Victory can get for their money. I feel like they're losing out. Like, I'm not even here to talk about the ethicalness. By the way, in case you're concerned, I don't give a shit, man. Particularly if you're someone who's struggling with money. Go for it. Go for it, man. If some organization wants to pay you to give political points, go for it. I don't even think it's unethical. I think you should be open with it. You should. And you should say, if you're saying an opinion that you're being paid for. That's probably something you should do. But other than that, I don't give a shit. I don't care at all. Good for Wick. Good for Brianna and them. I don't give a shit. Fine, great. I just don't think they're maybe the assets that Progressive Victory was hoping for. So this guy, Elder Drazi, and me, we have a brief 5-minute conversation about COVID. I think he said that he knows more about COVID than anyone, I believe was his words. Okay. So immediately following that debate, he was like, hey, you want to debate about COVID? I said, sure, but it was difficult to find time because I work a lot, but more importantly, the news cycle was like crazy right after that. That was when you had Biden's disastrous debate performance, and then it just, you remember how that went. For 2 weeks, it was like, is Biden going to drop out? Then the Trump assassination attempt, and plus then me working, et cetera, et cetera. So he messaged me today and was like, you still want to do that debate? I said, sure. What day works for you? He said Saturday. Fine, no problem. First thing I thought was odd was he put a tweet out like about, which I retweeted. I didn't care. I was just like, okay, whatever. That I thought was kind of funny. He put a tweet out where I'll just show you. Seems like an odd way to announce to people that you're going to be doing a debate, but this is what he says. He says, this Saturday at 7 p.m., robnoerr and I will be debating COVID. He has significantly more debate experience than I do. True. However, COVID's my best subject, and I don't feel the need to be polite or pleasant when discussing. I mean, it's technically true. He doesn't have to be polite or pleasant, but I was like, okay, whatever. Great. I'm glad you feel like that, I guess. Oh, there's Elder Drazi now. Want to call in? We do the debate right now. Or don't you have the right subtopics and moderator lined up? So anyways, I was like, whatever. I don't give a shit. Now, full disclosure, the reason I'm a little pissy here today is I can't help myself. I'm such a douchebag. Like when people start talking to me, then I end up talking to them. And I just wanted to because I just got home from work and I was just hanging out with the family. And then all of a sudden it goes from you want to do this debate in COVID? I assumed the topic was just in general COVID, in particular the things we were talking about on that panel. Great. No problem. Then he's like, moderator. I don't give a shit. Sure, moderator. I don't give a shit. So that he could time and make sure we get to all the subtopics. What? And by the way, that was said after the announcement of the debate. It's like, okay, whatever. Subtopics? Sure. Who are you thinking? He wanted an unbiased moderator. He says tomfoolery. There's unbiased. Oh, shit, I'm missing super chats. Roar89, thank you for the super chat. For $10 says, turning 35 this week and going to the fair with a bunch of drink tickets to eat fried food. Did you see the Trump news conference? I thought he did pretty good. I did not see the conference. But have fun at the fair, man. By the way, people let me know if I miss a super chat or a sub or something. I'm really bad at that. So, anyways, okay. You submitted the subtopics on X, I'm assuming. I'll check them out. So I was just like, what the fuck? What is this? Now it's becoming a big thing. And by the way, yesterday became a big thing too, where another debate gets set up with someone with a bunch of fucking jump through this hoop, jump through this hoop, jump through this hoop. It's like, all right. Whatever. Do you ever notice it's always like that when I debate? It's always me agreeing to almost everything that the person I'm debating wants, with a moderator that's almost always ideologically against me. It's almost always that way. And lest Elder Drazi, who's in the chat right now, lest he speaks up and says that's not, well, I didn't know that. I mean, I've interacted with this dude one time on a panel that was everyone versus me, with a moderator that jumped in to also debate against me as the moderator. So then he's like, hey, debate. I say, sure. He announces the debate and it's like, oh, and by the way, can we have a moderator? And can it be subtopics that I want that'll make sure we get to all the subtopics? And the moderator, how about tomfoolery? Tomfoolery. Okay. Destiny simp. He's not a Destiny simp. I mean, he went on the other day after the Andrew Wilson debate for a little struggle session with Destiny. Please don't hate me, Destiny. I'm trying to be a good guy. And Pisco and Destiny went, you're a fucking idiot. You're stupid. You're stupid. No, please just agree with me a little. Please. Tom fucking blows. Let's be honest. He's not a very good moderator. He's fucking a fake moderate horseshit lefty. That's what he is. But that's okay. I'm sure he's a decent guy. Thanks, Vita. Super chat for $2. Rob, don't do it. Don't let them stack that. Hey, stack the deck. I don't give a fuck. Tom's a fucking lefty. He's going to ideologically agree with Elder Drazi. I know it. You know it. Elder Drazi knows it. Tom knows it. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. So then, just out of curiosity, because of the hubris of it, unbiased moderator, like tomfoolery. I assume he'll be unbiased. Ask tomfoolery if he thinks that January 6th was an insurrection. Oh, he does. And he's been begging me to debate about it after he heard me say, other than Destiny and Peace Go, I'm tired of debating about January 6th. I'm done with it. And he said, I would love to debate you on January 6th. I think it's an insurrection. But he's unbiased. He'll be unbiased. He'll be unbiased about it. Right? So a dude that's been itching to talk to me about a subject I don't... Now he's going to be the moderator. Okay, fuck it. I'd be more than happy to pick someone else. Fuck the structure of the debate. I'll tell you the structure of the debate, Elder Drazi. Here, let's go through it real quick. Here's the subtopics. I think Elder Drazi said he released the subtopics. So let's see that. Let's see what he wants to talk about. I'll tell you right now what I have to say in all this. Trump administration response to COVID outbreak in the beginning. Yeah, it was shit. Vaccine safety efficacy. Don't pay attention. Don't give a fuck. Lockdowns. Terrible. COVID treatment. Don't have much to say. There you go. Here's my topic, Elder Drazi. Did you support lockdowns? Did you support vaccine mandates? What was the evidence you were looking at the time? If you don't have good evidence, then you're a fucking monster that I'm just going to yell at for 2 hours about what a sack of shit you are for cheering for government authoritarianism to lock people down, to force vaccine mandates on people, which ruined countless people's lives, destroyed our economy, and you had no good reason for believing it. There's my subtopics. So you can pick all the subtopics in the world you want, dude. Subtopic 17. In Minnesota, between the months of April and May, how did you feel the governor did when it came to COVID policies? Don't give a fuck. Next. Good? We good on that? We good in the subtopics there? But you make sure we'll have a moderator like Tom Fuller. It goes, now, Rob, the subtopics, we have to get to the 5 subtopics, so we're going to spend equal amount of times on each subtopic here. So subtopic 1. And I'll say, yeah, go ahead, Elder Drazi. You can keep talking. Let me know when we get to the shit I want to talk about. Have a good time. Good time. Yeah, it's very hard to find an unbiased moderator. What unbiased moderator means 99% of the time when I'm debating is, can we find a lefty that agrees with me to moderate this? And I always say, yeah, sure, fuck it, yeah, whatever. Just, to be honest, Elder Drazi wasn't that fucking ridiculous with his request. It's just fucking needy bullshit. It's needy fucking bullshit. Be a man. You want a moderator? That's fine. You want to be Tom? That's fine. Now we need a list of approved subtopics? Fuck off. What? We're going to talk about COVID. You talk about what you want. I'll talk about what I want. Sound good? And again, I fly off the handle a little too much. Should I have just been like, okay, dude, sure. That's what I should have said. Yep, whatever you want, man. Cool. That's what I should have said. Probably shouldn't have went to X and said, yeah, by the way, this debate's going to be a shit show because now we got a list of subtopics, blah, blah, blah. Why wouldn't you? By the way, in the Elder Drazi, if you're still there, in the month since you've said you wanted to debate me, why didn't you ever mention these subtopics? Why didn't you say, here are the areas specifically that I want the debate to be about? I'm just curious. I don't give a shit. It's not like I was really going to prepare. But I'm just curious. Why wait until after I was like, sure, I'll do the debate to be like, great. Oh, and by the way, here's subtopics. I can't tell you them now, but can we get a moderator to agree to make sure we get through the subtopics that I'll tell you later? Can we do that? And I was just in a little pissy mood about some work stuff anyway, so I figured I'd tee off a little on Elder Drazi. I did put one tweet out and was like, yeah, it's going to be a shit show. Because he's demanding all this stuff. He said, I didn't demand, I request. I said, I'll let people know that you requested. Then I put, in fairness, he didn't demand, he requested a Destiny Orbiter. In particular, I wasn't going to say Tom Fullery's name, but... Anyways, Elder Drazi really wanted the DMs to be released. Really needed them to be released. Okay, buddy, DMs released. So now the DMs are released. So I will not have any DMs with Elder Drazi ever again. I have no problem. upon request of releasing the DMs. So our conversations will be totally public from here on out. There will be no more private messaging. So that's that. So I hope he's happy. So there you go. So now we have the DMs. They're out. If Elder Drazi wants to call in, if he has a problem with it, if he's still in the chat, he can call in. He can pick whatever the fuck subtopics he wants. I'll say, sure, you talk about what you want. If I feel like discussing them when the debate's brought up, then we will. If I don't, I'll say, yeah, I don't give a shit. Next. Don't care. I just don't give a shit. It's, I don't know. I try to go out of my way to acquiesce to people to sort of like, hey, can you do this debate? And again, this comes off the heels of next week. You remember that guy yesterday I was kind of messing with a little my show, Doghouse Talk Show or whatever? I'll be debating him next week or having a conversation with him that had to jump through a bunch of hoops to get to that. That's the way it always is. I'm like, yeah, I'll do something. And then it comes with a list of, wow, we have all these requests. Okay. It's everything. It's always that. When I do a panel, it's always, the topic's always skewed to what my opponents want. I call into Destiny's show. I'm talking exactly what he wants to talk about for 5 hours. Then he rage quits as soon as we're going to get to what I want to talk about. It's always the same old shit. Same old. Always. And maybe poor Elder Drazi didn't mean anything by it. The smartest man on COVID. Smartest guy in COVID, Elder Drazi. When he was tweeting out that he's happy he won't have to be polite or pleasant during the debate. And now has a list of subtopics and specific moderators that he would like to request. Okay. Sounds good. Come on, Shadow. I might be desperate, but I'm buying viewers. Eat shit. I'm not. I guess it depends on the mood I'm in when we get to the debate. I'll probably be fine. I'll probably reciprocate his energy. What's it matter? I'm going to get blown out. He's the smartest guy ever. He knows more about COVID than anyone. Yeah, I know those are bots. I know. But thank you. I don't know. That's it. That's jump. So the DMs got released. And a couple... How did Biden call for violence? All caps! Wow! How did he do it? When can we get to that part? We'll get there. Don't worry, Pinkerton. He said we're going to beat the hell out of Trump and his supporters. That's how he called for violence. Sins of a Solar Empire. Never heard of it. I love the all caps, so it does get your attention. Elder, yeah, I think Elder left too. He can call in if he wants. Get Tom. Let's see. Conservative, I see your message now. No, you didn't make me mad. You're fine, man. No. And then when I was like, why'd you start off saying I don't have to be polite? Oh, the only reason I said that was people say I'm too polite. Okay. Okay, dude. Whatever. I don't give a shit. I really don't. I know what my position is. I know that I exist on this space where I'm a good debater and that fucking my role is to walk into every single debate with the deck stacked, well, not everyone, 90% of the debates with the deck stacked completely against me. I just don't give a shit. Fine, do it. Just stop bothering me. I'm trying to hang out with my family. Do whatever the fuck you want. Bring your moderator, bring your 10 friends, me versus 10 of you. I only get to speak like 1/10 as much as you guys. I'm not allowed to speak my first language. Whatever. I don't give a shit anymore. Thanks, man. I appreciate it, AB. I appreciate that. The DAC stacked. Yeah. Like I said, English not my first language. All right, let's get to the Biden shit, right? Well, let me make sure I didn't get any more DM. By the way, if any lefty there wants to call in, I'd be more than happy to yell at someone tonight. That'd be great. Also, one other thing I'll say about the Destiny Orbiter crowd. I think it's so funny now, all these people that are just like, did ChatGPT write that for you? We talked about that. I don't have to talk about it. But the line of attack that I think's the best from these copers are, I used to think Rob was good faith. He was one of the good ones. And now I've seen him lie so much. And it's not even the fucking AI shit. They're like, how could he just like, clearly January 6th was an insurrection. Clearly. And that gets into what we'll be talking about today. Here's what Joe Biden said. This is a dark moment in our country's history. Oh, wait. I gotta have the desktop audio on, huh?
Let me tell you what our Project 2025 is. Beat the hell out of them. I mean it. Let me tell you.
Top snack for this $10 super chat. Do you think it's reasonable to think January 6th was an insurrection, but also know it's clearly being used as a political tool against the right, and Trump's the only reason people care? Yes and no. I don't think January 6th was an insurrection in the way that we understand it, that the average person understands it. Yes, I'm assuming, just like with the term disorderly conduct, I could say, technically, I've committed disorderly conduct while I was streaming right now. I was above a calm talking voice, and it could have been a public nuisance. Technically, could that be disorderly conduct? I guess. I guess technically, if you're looking at legal definitions from around the time of the Civil War that haven't been applied for over 100 years, you could technically say that some of these things may fit the legal definition of insurrection, but it's never been applied as such. It's clear that there were insurrections based on those same definitions that occurred for many, many times throughout that over 100-year period, including up until the summer of 2020 with the Summer of Love with the George Floyd riots. None of those things were called insurrections by people in positions of power that tried to do anything to charge people with insurrection, anything like that. It's clear that it's just a political tool that's being used to go after these people, to go after Trump. Just like no one gave a shit about the Logan Act until it was, no one's been charged for over 100 years, but then they wanted to get Mike Flynn, so they used that as one of the reasons to go after him. No one gave a shit about failing to register as a foreign lobbyist, basically, but they used that to go after Trump-connected people. Meanwhile, we know that was Hunter Biden's job. He wasn't charged with those crimes. It's the same thing. No one gives a shit about classified documents and mishandling of it. Everyone gets off except Trump and his people. Am I a Nittany Lion? No. I grew up in Pennsylvania, so I was a Pitt fan first and foremost, and then secondarily a Penn State fan. My brother's a big Penn State fan, but the story behind this hat's pretty simple. I lost my hat at one point, and my wife went into a Dollar General because we're in Pennsylvania. The only hats they had were a Penn State hat, so I put this one on, and I haven't bought a new hat yet. So that's it. But I kind of like Penn State. I went to Clarion University for my undergrad and Tiffin University in Ohio for my graduate degree. Anyways, back to Joe Biden here. Let's hear that again.
Let me tell you what our Project 2025 is. Beat the hell out of them. I mean it. Let me tell you what our Project...
Beat the hell out of them. Now, I think that that's just a reference to sort of political gamesmanship. I think when people say, we need to fight like hell for our country, we need to beat the hell out of them, our opponents, I always took that to just mean they're talking about mere political engagement and beating people in the field of politics. However, my standard doesn't matter. The standard that now matters is the Democratic standard, which was when Trump said fight like hell, that was telling his people to go use violence. Even when he said go be peaceful, didn't matter. He was clearly telling them, he said fight like hell. That means he was telling them to be violent. That's what they said. Okay, given that standard, when Biden says beat the hell out of them, referring to Trump and his supporters, I'm assuming, that sounds like a call for violence. If there's any Trump supporters that are physically attacked, I assume that means that Joe Biden incited that violence, correct? Not my standard. Not my standard. That's their standard. That's their standard. Not in a million years do I think that Joe Biden's actually saying that him and his supporters should go physically beat Donald Trump and his supporters. But just like the Democrats knew when Trump said fight like hell, he wasn't saying go physically assault the people that you disagree with. He wasn't saying that. But they pretend that he was. Oh, no. Those words. Check my DMs on what? X or Discord? Sure, you can come on. Give me a second to finish this point, though. Now, of course, then, all of, like, Destiny's orbiters or fans or whatever the fuck you want to call them, DGGers, they're like, oh, I used to think Rob was good faith, but this is clearly bullshit. Let's look at the context. When Trump said fight like hell, it was at the Capitol, and then they rioted, and that wasn't the argument. You notice how they do this? They just say, this is always what they do. This unique situation's the only time that this thing applies. The only time that it's bad to say fight like hell or anything like that is if it's January 6th, if it's Trump saying it, if it's before people go to the ellipse, if it's before the first punch is thrown against a police officer. That's the only time that fight like hell, when a politician says it, literally means go use physical violence. Hell, even when I debated Destiny, he said all these things are Trump calling for physical violence. I said, really? So when he said Jim Jordan fights and Mitch McConnell needs to fight better than him, that was him saying Jim Jordan physically throws punches? No, not that time. That's not what he meant that time. So when you point out the absurd, they act like I'm being absurd. And this is one of my favorite things. I love this. I love how fucking bad faith, partisan, hack, stupid assholes these people are, right? Because when you point out the absurdity of their position, for example, here's one. All the people that said that Trump wasn't really shot and that it was fake and that Trump supporter didn't really die at the assassination, they should all be sued for billions of dollars, correct? Not my standard. That was the standard used going against Alex Jones. And they're like, that's absurd. How dare you? That's crazy. That's absurd. Right. Of course it is. Well, hey, the FBI had to spy on Trump's team because of his shady connections to Russians. Okay, we know, unlike Trump's team, Hillary's team not only had shady connections to Russians, including her husband personally meeting with Vladimir Putin and then being paid $500,000 by a Russian state-owned bank like 6 weeks later, but we know they actually did get dirt in the 2016 election cycle from a suspected Russian spy named Igor Zhashenko. When's the FBI spying operation begin? That's absurd. That's not a reason to spy on them. Saying fight like hell is a call to violence. Trump said it's a call to violence. Okay, here's a list of Democrats that have done the same. Here's Joe Biden say beat the hell out of him. That's absurd. I used to think you were good faith. How could you think that's a literal call to violence? This is ridiculous. Rob used to be good faith. But Rob, the technical situations are different. They're not exactly the same. No shit. Give me your proof that Trump called for violence. Well, he said fight like hell. That's what they say. Then you're like, well, here's Democrats saying it. Yeah, but when they say fight like hell, that's different. The context is different. So then what's your proof again? All right, let's see what this guy wants to talk about. John, do you know how to join my waiting room there? Let's get it going here. What's this? All right, we got someone calling in. Yep, I gotta check my mic and shit on Discord real quick. Mic, yeah, okay, we're good. What's up, Scatman John?
Hello?
Hello.
Hello? Hi.
Hi.
Do you remember me?
No.
No, not at all? Okay.
No.
Well, we debated a little bit ago. It was like 2 years, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to come on.
What did we debate about?
I think it was supposed to be on Trump, but then I think we focused mainly on systemic racism, which kind of bled over into like welfare and all that.
Okay.
But I feel like I
don't remember, but that's
it's okay.
It's not a attack on you.
No, I know. No.
But all right, what do you want to talk about then?
Well, I wanted to talk about you brought up that clip from Biden today, and you were talking about how that from the left's how do you say from their like perspective, the way they're portraying Trump and everything, that this should be basically, this is a call for violence, and that like this should be like as condemned as any like Trump saying go fight like hell or whatever, right?
Yeah, I guess what I said was in my standard, I don't think this is a call to violence. But once you say that Trump saying fight like hell was a call to violence and engagement in insurrection, so much so that it was used in court hearings as proof that he engaged in an insurrection, then that standard should be applied equally, including to Democrat politicians such as Maxine Waters or Nancy Pelosi or AOC or Joe Biden. Or Chuck Schumer, when they make calls like this, particularly when they come before or after acts of violence against the people that they're calling for.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I again, I'm going to speak for myself. There are a lot of stupid people on my side too, but I'm just speaking for myself here. I would say that take that like is like completely missing a fuck ton of context. I'm sorry, can I swear on here?
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay, just want to make sure. But that the fact that it's not that Trump is just saying fight like hell, like you said, politicians speak like this all the time. It's just a way to get people energized. But the context behind this is Trump for months before the election, and then during the election and after the election.
Let's start here, right, okay. Real quick.
Can I get my thing off?
No, but you can't.
No? But why can't I?
Let's start here, just so I understand, and then you can finish this point. Sure. Are you saying that Donald Trump called for violence?
In that specific moment, with all the context behind everything else that he had said, absolutely.
Okay, you can finish your point. I just wanted to make sure, because everything else you're saying, if you would have said, well, no, sort of changes the context of what you're saying, right?
Sure.
So go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No. Okay, sorry. I remember in our last debate, I came in, I was like very, very like soft, and I let a lot of things slide that I shouldn't, and I feel like, never mind. Okay, whatever. But anyways, to continue on my point is that with all the context behind what Trump is saying, that the country's being stolen from us, that they've rigged the votes with Hugo Chavez's ghost and Dominion machines, and that all these things, your country's being stolen from you. If you're hyping up that this crazy, insane conspiracy is happening, that is literally gonna like ruin your life and destroy your country. That saying that with that context, and I'll add on the fact that Trump, I believe during the speech at the Ellipse before January 6th, we can basically say, or I can say, you would probably disagree with me, but I don't think Trump actually I don't think he thinks that there's like election fraud or anything like that. I think he's doing this to stay in power.
Okay,
so
so
with
then
all
you're
that context behind that.
So
yeah.
okay, so your proof that Donald Trump called for violence basically boils down to two things: that he said it in the context of this great, big, huge, nefarious thing that he was saying, that the stakes were very high because he said your country was going to be stolen. That's part one, right? And part two is that was a lie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although that's a bit less important than the other part.
Joe Biden says that Trump is a threat to democracy, that he called Nazis good people, so much so that Joe Biden said that's the reason he decided to run for office in 2020.
Sure.
Saying that the country is going to be ran by a Nazi seems to be really high stakes. Would you agree?
Sure. I would totally agree.
Okay, and that's a lie. Trump never said Nazis were good people. Would you agree?
I would agree.
Okay, so then how does this not meet the exact criteria that you outlined?
The difference is, actually, I'll go back on what I said. The lie thing is very important because calling Trump a fascist is true. He
said
acts
that,
like a fascist.
No, that's
like
subjective. That might be his opinion, but he said that Trump said Nazis are good people. That's a lie.
Yeah, sure. In that specific example, I would say I would condemn that, but like the Democrats calling Trump a fascist, doing these things that are very extreme, are okay because he's acting like a fascist.
I don't give a shit that you're equivocating now. You're saying, in my opinion, Trump is a fascist, so therefore, if you call him a fascist and then say to beat them like hell, I personally don't consider that a call to violence. I think that's irrelevant as to whether it's true or not. Nonetheless, it's irrelevant to the point that I'm making with you right now. I'm talking about something specific that even you admitted was a lie, that Kamala's team, her campaign team, just tweeted out again yesterday or today, I don't know which one it was, that Trump said that Nazis were fine people or whatever. That's why Joe Biden said he ran. That meets your criteria. You outlined two criteria. If the claim is really huge, that your country's going to be stolen, etc., that would fit right in with your country's going to be ran by someone who says Nazis are good people, that's a threat to democracy, a fascist. That's number one. And second, if it was a lie. You initially said, let me finish. You initially said, if it's a lie, it's not that important. Then once you realized, Joe Biden just met the exact criteria I outlined, you said, let me take that back. Let me say that if it's a lie is very important. To my response is, okay, you still admitted that what he said about Trump saying Nazis are good people is a lie. So explain to me again how, now I want you to explain to me. I gave you a chance to outline. I asked you, I said, this is basically your position. It's these two things. You said yes. I just explained to you how Joe Biden's claim today that they need to beat the hell out of Trump and presumably his support. Let me finish. Finished. And I just explained how that meets the same criteria that you outlined. Now, can you explain to me why you don't think that's the case now?
Because Joe Biden lying, I'm not even sure, he might not even know that that's not true, but Joe Biden lying in one specific example is not the same as Trump always lying about this whole thing for months, even knowing this is not true.
Joe Biden's not only lied about this for months, it's been years. He claimed that the reason he ran for office was that Trump said Charlottesville and Trump said Nazis are good people. So this isn't just a one-off lie. And that lie's far worse than any lie Trump told because it's objectively...
No way.
Of course it is, for two reasons. One, it's objectively untrue. Anyone could see with their own eyes that's watched the video that it's... Let me finish. It's objectively untrue. Trump never said Nazis were good people, as you can see through your own eyes. Whereas with Trump's claims of the election being stolen, we don't know if Trump believes that or not. And there are still significant questions out there in certain states about whether or not there were shenanigans that could have affected those states. So one is a lie that you might say we don't see proof and I don't think that Trump believed it, whereas the other is an objective lie. He said X when he didn't say X.
What did Donald Trump say? Like, I don't
Trump said there are fine people on both sides. Clearly, I'm not talking about the Nazis, the white supremacists. They should be condemned.
Okay, hold on. Okay, sure. Okay, then but here's the thing.
You can see that Biden's claim today that we need to beat the hell out of them meets your criteria for a call to violence.
No, because that he didn't predicate that one thing that, sure, I will say he's spreading misinformation, he's lying there. That's not predicated on that one thing. If it were, then sure, that's a call to violence. But he's not. That whole thing is predicated on the fact that they think that Trump, and I think that Trump acts like a fascist, that he wants to destroy democracy. And that is true. That's the difference.
Okay, so then, first off, I don't believe you because I think that one of the big reasons that people think that Trump will be such a danger is because they think he said Nazis were good people, which is a lie. So
that's not why. I'm sorry.
That is one of the key reasons. That is a lie that has been told. Yes, it is. And secondly, why does whether or not it's the truth or a lie matter anyways? So you're telling me that I can't incite someone to violence by telling them the truth?
The difference is that if you're inciting someone to violence over a lie, if I'm saying that, like, if I told, like, let me think of an example. If I told that, like, I'm trying to think. Let's say that if I went over to West Africa, as they were trying to, like, ship people back over to America to be slaves, I told them, they're going to make you slaves. They're going to enslave you. They're going to beat the shit out of you. They're going to kill you. They're going to keep your family like this forever. And that's an incitement to violence. That is if someone told you that someone's going to enslave you, you're of course going to want to fight them. But that's true, and so that's the morally correct thing to do.
So your claim is Joe Biden is inciting people to violence, but it's for a good reason.
Sure, I'll take that position.
Okay, yeah, you've lost the debate. So
no,
I just want everyone to hear it. You just heard that. He just admitted that Joe Biden, weeks after an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, just incited violence against Donald Trump.
Which was done by a Republican.
He was done by some... What state do you live in?
Massachusetts.
Do you have open primaries in Massachusetts?
I think so. No, I don't, actually.
Okay, you are aware in Pennsylvania that we have closed primaries, correct?
Sure, but that's...
Are you aware of the fact that there are many people that register Republican that are actually Democrats so that they could vote in the Republican
sure, but the
Republicans,
majority of the people who register as Republicans are Republicans.
How many Republicans...
You can't just make that claim.
How many Republicans... Okay, fine. Now we're going on to specifics. How many Republicans do you know that have donated to Act Blue? Can you name me one?
Okay. This is like... We don't know that this is like... Him like... also...
I asked you a question. Just name me one. Name me one.
I don't know.
You don't know? You can't name me one?
No.
Okay, would you admit that seems very unusual, someone that's a diehard Republican who tries to assassinate the Republican candidate for president, who's donated to Act Blue? That seems a little strange, doesn't it?
Also, isn't it strange that, like, didn't we find out that, like, in his, like, from his classmates, that, like, he was, like, kind of on this, like, what's the incel? The incel.
What does that have anything to do? You seem to make it.
The whole ideology of like of incels is like.
Okay, I'm going to cut you off here just to read a super chat because I'll miss it. Super chat for $5.99. Thank you. Pinkerton says, Rob, this is a Destiny or very least Destiny fanboy. Similar voice, same vocabulary, extremely close talking patterns, and Spurg's the same way. Whatever. I don't care if you like this.
Okay. I mean, I am. I don't care. Like, I know.
Okay. Cool. Nonetheless, again, so here's where we are now. First, you seem to suggest that Trump was uniquely bad for inciting violence, and that
no. Okay,
please let me finish. Then you admit, okay, actually Biden did incite violence, but it's for a good reason. Then when I bring up that comes off the heels of a month ago an assassination attempt on Trump, you go, by a Republican. That's irrelevant to the point we're making here anyways, but if we're going to focus on that, it seems like it was a Republican that donated to Act Blue. You don't have a good answer for that, so you just say, well, he may have been an incel. Okay. How does that? Like, okay, so let's say I accept that. Let's say I accept that. I don't know that. We know very little about the guy. There have been classmates that have said varying things that I've heard. Sure. We don't have anything definitive. But let's say for the sake of argument, I'd say, okay, he was an incel. So now I'll restate my position. You appear to be saying Joe Biden just called for violence against Trump a month after an attempted assassination attempt on him by an incel. Good?
Okay, fine. But I don't. Was I coming in here? Okay. Fine, let's argue about, like, I'm sure we'll disagree about, like, whether the incitement to violence thing, like, whether Joe Biden has, like, a moral right to incite violence.
You're saying, so I just want to be clear. You're conceding that Joe Biden was inciting violence.
I don't know if I would have to think about this more. But for the sake of this argument, for the sake of this specific debate, where I'm not going to take, like, a 10-minute pause to, like, think about it, unless you want me to do that.
What I would say is he wasn't, and Donald Trump wasn't. I would say both of them were saying things that they thought that they believed, and even if you don't think that they believed them, it doesn't matter. That's not calling for violence.
I don't
any
know
more than
how
if someone says, I think the country's systemically racist, I don't think that's a call for violence.
No,
you do. You say that is a call for violence.
No. But I would rather. I think living in a world where Donald Trump, who's going insane, like imagine if I came over to you and I was telling you your neighbor Bob is going to steal your house in a few months. Mm-hmm. He's going to take he's going to take your smart TV. He's going to take your dog. He's going to take your children. He's going to take everything. You have to prepare to fight. You have to fight. But I'm like, but on the day of, I come out and I'm like, you have to fight to protect your property and everything, but be peaceful. That's obvious. If someone's telling you something that extreme and then telling you to go fight, that is obviously an incitement to violence. Did you ever
call out the incitements of violence that we've heard for decades from the Democratic Party, saying the country's systemically racist?
I don't know. I would have to do I don't know anything.
Are you aware of the fact that Democrats and Democratic activists have routinely said that law enforcement in this country is systemically racist?
I'm sorry. I don't think that Democrats are saying that the country's systemically racist so much so that black people are like slave.
Police are killing.
Would have a justification.
You don't think they're saying that they're systemically racist police are systemically murdering unarmed black men?
I don't think they were saying that was enough that was enough enough of a incitement to be able to go and morally justify violence.
Are you a person of color? Are you black?
I'm not black. No.
If you were black and you thought the pharmaceutical industry, the housing industry, the law enforcement industry were all systemically racist against you, up to and including the systemic murder of unarmed black men by a law enforcement system that was allowing them to get away with it, do you think that would possibly incite you to anger and violence?
I don't think that's what they were hold on. I'm sorry. Give me 30 seconds. I don't think that that they were saying that they were saying that these are biases that occur in the system that we can fix these through political means. That's
no. Just to be clear, that's absolutely completely different than what you were saying, right? Because what you're saying is what Trump said was there's such this big threat, they're going to steal your country, that obviously then a reasonable person would hear that and say, I have to use violence. How would a person who's hearing from powerful people in the Democratic Party and powerful people that vote Democrat that are academics, etc., that are saying that almost the entirety of the country is systemically racist, you're saying that the message they would have received is, so we need to vote harder and we need to go peacefully protest.
That is literally what Democrats say. They go out and they campaign.
That's bullshit.
That's what Obama campaigned on. That's what he did. This country can change.
That is cope.
Campaign literally on hope.
That is cope.
No, I'm sorry. No, it's not.
That is cope.
It's not. You can say that there are flaws in our system and that we can change them through political means without calling for violence.
It is cope and bullshit. The argument it is so self-evidentary bad faith and bias. No. Yes, it is, for people like you that hate Trump so much that have made that the entire ideology of your politics, that you'll say when Trump says fight like hell, I know it is part of my religion that had to be. Please let me finish.
I literally just admitted to you that I also agree that Biden would be calling for violence.
Please let me finish. That the only thing he could have been suggesting then was a call to violence. But when people say the country is systemically racist, they're killing innocent, unarmed black men by hordes. The implication for those people that are saying that is, clearly they're not calling for violence.
Okay, but I want to focus on this. So you think that you think that somebody telling a bunch of people that there's a massive conspiracy in our government that's taking away your right to vote, which is basically our most powerful right in this country, that's destroying our country, and they're telling you to go fight, that this is not incitement to violence?
I don't think it's incitement to violence.
How?
You want to know how? I could prove that I don't. Because for years, Democrats have been saying that policies
Don't go to Democrats. Tell me how that's...
Please be quiet and learn something. It's clear that you're not that smart. That's why you listen to Destiny. But maybe you could learn something if you listen. I could prove that I don't think that, because for years, Democrats have said voting systems were rigged to disenfranchise the black vote. And I never thought when they they were saying that, which the clear implication would be then your vote can't save you because it's rigged against you, that the implication was that they needed to go commit violence. I never once said that.
The implication behind those things, like the thing in North Carolina, I believe in 2015, where the Supreme Court overturned like the I forget exactly what law it was, but like these are like they're pointing to like specific examples of biases within the system, and that these can be fixed within the system as they were.
That's not what they're saying. When someone says that is not what they're saying. That is not what they're telling people at these rallies and shit. This country's systemically racist. Law enforcement's killing unarmed people, and that's why we all need to be peaceful and we need to get out and vote harder, even though the voting systems are rigged against you and your vote won't count. We're saying, that's what we're talking about specifically, going out and vote. Bullshit. That's not what they're saying.
That is not.
This is a classic example of a standard has been outlined by you. I show you how Democrats meet that standard all the time, and your bias allows you to say, no, I could see the intent of Donald Trump, and his intent was to be violence, but I could also see the intent of all of those people that were calling for systemic racism, and I know their intent wasn't violence.
Any reasonable person can clearly see that Democrats pointing out to black people that there are biases within the system that may hinder their ability to vote, and that these things that they're acting on, like the thing in North Carolina, or like redistricting, and these things can be changed within the system. Compared to Donald Trump pointing to some nebulous conspiracy that constantly changes about boxes being moved in and out with shady video footage and Hugo Chavez's ghost possessing machines and these like crazy, and him calling states and like asking them to asking governors for a private citizen to get these voter information that they
this all sounds really germane.
Yeah, I know
it sounds really germane to the point you're making. No, it sounds like you're just desperately trying to justify your double standard. Every reasonable person knows when Trump said fight like hell, he wasn't telling those people to go raise fisticuffs. When he said in some of the same context, and I know being a Destiny fan that you saw me debate him the other day when he rage quit, when Destiny was saying here's all the times that he was clearly calling for violence, when he said fight like hell, and then when he said Jim Jordan fights, when he said we need more people to fight like Jim Jordan and Mitch McConnell doesn't fight, was he calling for physical violence from Jim Jordan and Mitch McConnell?
Wait, can you repeat that again?
Yes, when he was saying we need to fight like hell, and then in the same context, in the same sort of tweets, he was saying Mitch McConnell's not a fighter, Jim Jordan's a fighter, we need more Republicans that fight like Jim Jordan. Was he saying Jim Jordan? Let me finish. So he was saying literally Jim Jordan is fist fighting when he says Jim Jordan's a fighter.
No, of course he's not saying fucking Jim Jordan is fist fighting.
So then when then when he says we need more people to fight like Jim Jordan, he was saying use fisticuffs. That's what he was saying.
No, in that specific example, he's talking about standing up in Congress. But when he's talking about fighting for your country, after talking about your whole country being stolen from you, of course that's an incitement to violence. Because what normal person would who thinks that their country's being stolen, and then someone's telling them to go fight for their country, how would that not be an incitement to violence?
What normal person that thinks that the country's systemically racist and that police are getting away with killing unarmed black people in scores, that hears someone say you need to fight for your country, wouldn't go out and physically fight? What normal people wouldn't do that?
Because Democrats follow up those things with we can change these things through the Democratic
So you're
process.
telling me every time that a speech like that's been giving about systemically racist, that it always comes with,
it's not
please
always.
Don't be violent. You just said because Democrats.
But that's the Democrat message overall.
Then let me rephrase. Then if a particular Democrat says this country's systemically racist and you need to fight like hell, and doesn't follow it up in that speech with, and by that we mean go vote, you would admit that that was a call to violence.
No, because if Donald Trump, I'll give you an example. If Donald Trump said our country is being stolen from us, and we need a fight to protect it, but then the Republican message the entire time throughout this whole process was, we're gonna try to fight this through the courts. We're gonna try to fight this through the system. Then I would say, sure, that's not an incitement to violence, because it seems like the Republican message is that they're going to do this through the processes of government.
There was
Legally.
a process of government that they were attempting to use, right? They were trying to have court cases. They were trying to have Mike Pence delay the electors. There was a process that they were using. So it's clear that they weren't just saying you had to use violence. Secondly, none of that matters anyways, because what you're then saying is, let's say I'm an average audience member there January 6th, and I don't know much other than there was a lot of shady shit that occurred. I hear Trump say this speech. I don't have to know what all of his legal strategy is to determine whether or not that's incited me to violence. Similarly, if I'm a Black Lives Matter protester and I go to a rally and hear a bunch of Democrats saying, this country's systemically racist, they're killing unarmed black people, they influenced the drug war just to screw over black people, and that person right there doesn't say, which you say it's some standard, doesn't say, therefore you need to go vote.
No.
How was I, as an average BLM protester, supposed to know? Oh, and here's everything else let me finish, that Democrat and all other Democrats said. That seems absurd. You're putting artificial sort of boundaries on what's incitement to violence and what's not.
I expect the average citizen of a democratic country to be educated enough to be able to say that, like, oh, this is the Republican Party platform. This is the Democratic Party platform. This one speech isn't the defining thing.
Okay, fine. Are you an average citizen? You know the platforms?
I would say more than the average person.
Okay, great. So then you're better than average. What's the Democrat position on ending systemic racism?
I think they're trying to do it through like local politics, trying to do it through
like what?
reparations.
Their platforms.
California,
reparations.
That's welfare.
It. Reparations and welfare.
Not just reparations, through like welfare. Through like
welfare. Okay, so reparations and welfare. That's the plan. That's it. That's the Democrat platform.
Not the entire plan. I'm not going to outline every single fucking line.
But you're above average. You're above average.
Yeah, I'm above.
You know their platform.
Okay, I could go into more detail. I'm sure. Go like more funding of like public schools, like the food programs that we have in Minnesota, or like I said, reparations in California, or like building more public housing.
What if I told you this? What if I said, I have a friend that lives in inner city Detroit who's a black guy, and this is what he says about the Democratic platform. Yeah, they're full of shit. They always say they're going to do stuff to help the inner city blacks, but they don't do shit. What if I told you that person exists? Are they less informed than you?
I would say probably, yeah. I mean,
you think so?
I don't know. You just told me one thing about this person.
Okay, but you assume they're less informed than you. Why would you make that assumption? Because they're black?
Yes, because they're black. No, because I don't know anything about this person, and I assume like.
Why would your assumption be that you know more than them? Then?
Because I think I'm more educated than the average person about these things.
I don't think that you're showing yourself to be that.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So then you would say, no matter who I would have said, your assumption would have been you know more.
Yeah, but my assumption, my level of conviction.
Well, would you think
that would be like 1% because I don't? You just told me one thing.
Okay, so let's say that person is as educated as you. They went to college and they used to run as an alderman in Detroit. That's not true, but let's say that was true, and they still think, yeah, the Democratic Party's full of shit. They never do anything to help us. All right. So you can't say that you're more informed than them.
Sure.
Is that person then, when he hears the Democrats say systemic racism, is he incited to violence? Because he doesn't think the Democrats are going to do anything politically. He says,
no,
for the past 80 years we've heard this. For 80 years we've heard this and nothing changes.
I would just think he's wrong. I would point to how things have gotten better. I would say, yes, look at the Civil Rights Act. Look at how many black people are in poverty compared to like 20 years ago. Look at the level of violent crime within.
It depends on the So you would say, actually, sir, that thinks that you see problems in your neighborhood. It's not that bad. It's actually much better than
I'm sorry. I'm not saying that like all your problems have gone away. I'm saying they've clearly gotten better. Things have changed.
I'm saying that with that person, I think there is a reasonable argument to have that people think that the Democratic Party ain't doing shit to help out the inner city.
Sure.
And so if your stance is, if people are saying really bleak shit about the country, that's a call to violence, unless they have real policies that are solving that, which we expect every person should know because that's the way the country works. Everyone in a crowd is informed enough to know what the policies. I do expect citizens in a democracy to know at least the bare fucking minimum about their country's politics. But they don't. You might expect that, but you know it's not true.
I know that at least I think the average person could definitely outline the basic. They could basically say like, oh, the Democrats believe in like systemic racism within like the systems of government, and they're trying to like solve it through like welfare or whatever. They wouldn't know housing programs or anything.
I think that the majority of people that were very passionate about the argument of systemic racism, particularly those that were rioting, probably say we don't think the Democrats are doing near enough or doing shit. We need to fight for our country right now.
I would say they're wrong.
Okay, you would say they're wrong, but they were still incited to violence by the people that were talking about systemic racism.
Okay, I can't control if I tell people that there's like a problem in like if I say that there's like systemic racism in like the voting system or whatever. I'm not like this is like the Lauren Southern thing where like you can talk about like these like crazy like conspiracies, but you can like have like outlines for this, but if someone goes and acts and does something insane because of like you said that there's one problem, one place, you can't blame the person for that because they can't control all of the people who listen to their things.
So let me see if I got you right. I'll steelman your position. You ready?
Okay.
This is what you're saying, that like if like
Wait,
a like person like says like
oh
that
my
like
fucking,
this
listen.
like person like says like that I'm like more like educated like than like the like average like person like that like if like
you,
they like
you
say
close,
something like when they like say like that
You're
something
close?
like is
Almost
happening
there.
that like you
Almost
shouldn't
there.
like hold like them responsible like if someone like does
Been
like
there.
something
Okay.
violent, right?
Sure.
That's what you're saying?
I think you got it all. I think you did add, you know, the being
Man,
like
there might have been one or two I added there. I agree with that.
Yeah,
right.
I think you.
So
I think
then,
you added. You were off by a few. I think I said a few more
Wow,
times.
that's very similar to my stance. I actually say the same thing. I say that you have every right to talk about what you think are actually terrible things that are. There is no difference.
Sorry.
Allow me to finish. You don't. Go ahead. Summarize what I was going to say. Go ahead. You're above average
No,
intelligence.
because
You've cut me off. You've cut me before I even.
No, I don't know.
Before no. Let me finish, and then you'll get a chance.
Please. Oh my God.
You just said that I basically reiterated what you said. That I said, well, that's sort of what I believe.
You just
And as soon as
reiterated what I
let me
said,
finish.
fucking, like-
So as soon as I started to say, before I got it out, you said, no. There's a difference. So you tell me what steelman me what I was about to say. Go ahead.
No, I was saying to wait because you're about to run away from the fact that I just said that there's a clear difference between like. I'm gonna say like again. Between someone calling for violence and somebody saying something, and then people taking that as a call for violence.
Right. Now, if you would have listened to me, you would have heard that was exactly the position I was going to make. What I was going to say is I've been steadfast that even if someone wants to say something that I think's batshit crazy, like for example, if they say there is a trans genocide occurring. If some lunatic hears that and goes out and commits an act of violence, I don't really I don't lay the blame legally or say it's obvious incitement for the person that said that, particularly if they believe that there really is a trans genocide. That's been the position I've taken even with streamers, people that are on X, social media, politicians, media people. That's been my position. If you say something and you're not directly calling for violence and some unhinged lunatic goes out and commits an act of violence, you shouldn't be held accountable for it. Agreed? That seems to be what you're saying.
No, because there is a fine line between saying like if again Donald Trump saying that like an extreme thing is happening and that you need to go fight to stop that extreme thing from happening, and then somebody saying there's a problem with our country, we can fix it through these things, and then someone over here saying, oh, you're not going to fix it through these things, and then I'm going to go off and do my own thing.
They're not saying they're not saying you could fix it through these things. Secondly, Donald Trump had things that he said you could fix it through. These court trials that we need to hear, the stopping the electors. He said
Donald
things
Trump,
that weren't violent that he thought would have been able to stop it. Again, you were picking and choosing.
Donald Trump,
what happened was we're outlining our standard for when we think things are incitement to violence. So we could see when it came to initially with Joe Biden, you said no, he didn't incite violence. I asked you for your standard why Trump did. I then used that same standard and got you to completely change your position within 3 minutes where you said, yeah, I guess actually Biden is inciting violence. Then we went to the next step to talk about broader Democrats doing it. You made a general point, which was, unless someone's specifically calling for violence, even if they're saying things that are really important, big issues that are really like detrimental to people, like the country's being stolen or the country's systemically racist or there's a trans genocide, you don't blame those people as inciting unless they've specifically called for violence. You immediately realize that obviously then this means that your argument against Donald Trump isn't going to hold water. So you pivot immediately. No. You're like, that is what I said. But what Trump did was uniquely bad because he said that you need to fight while he was saying that. And he didn't say what the process was. So that's an incitement to violence. And then we go back to this ridiculous thing. Okay, that would mean that any Democrat, that would mean that any Democrat or person that talked about systemic violence that didn't outline the policy prescriptions that could change that was inciting violence. Yes or no?
The difference is that I'm pointing out that that when you by the ellipse speech, Donald Trump is fully saying that the whole system's rigged against me. We've gone through everything. The whole system's rigged against me. We have to fight. Mike Pence has to fight. We need more fighters. Was
he calling for Mike Pence to use physical violence when he said Mike Pence has to fight?
No, not in that. Okay, I'm sorry. That was a bad example. But by that point, he was saying that they had exhausted the legal means that the whole system was rigged against them. And if you're telling people that your country's being stolen, the whole system's rigged against you, and that the vice president is not going, he's turned against the president and he's with the stealing of the country, then you're leading people to this obvious conclusion that there's no way to stop this extreme thing from happening other than violence.
If you tell people that the whole country is systemically racist and that police are
but killing, if you offer solutions,
I let you give your screed, and you tell people that police are getting away with killing unarmed black men, then literally you're telling them that there's no other choice but to fight. You're going to say if you offer solutions, Trump offered solutions. He said that Mike Pence shouldn't certify the electors. He said that these court cases should go through. And you have no evidence that every Democrat that said these sort of things was offering solutions. Instead, what you've done is you've said, oh no, I assume that everyone in that crowd had the average intelligence to know exactly what the policies were of the Democrats saying that would have been that they shouldn't.
When you do these reruns of the debate, you add in these little things that make me sound
I add in? What did I add in?
I said every person in that crowd should know
That is what you said. You assume that they know
the whole policies of every.
Okay, not the whole policies, just the general policies.
And you're adding in these little things.
I would like to take back that I said that you said that everyone in that audience should know the whole policies, and I would like to retract that and say should know the general policies. Agreed? That's what you said?
Okay. Yes, that is what I said.
Okay, so again, his stance is, for anyone listening, his stance is, if you say something really bleak and you don't offer a policy prescription, then clearly you've incited people to violence. Unless you're the Democrats saying that there's systemic racism, because even if you don't offer a policy prescription at that point, we assume that everybody knows that the Democrats have policy prescriptions to fight systemic racism. And if people didn't know, well, that's their fault for not being informed, so we can't blame them for inciting violence. Democrats for inciting violence.
Yeah,
did I sum that up? Did I steal me in that position?
You did do a very good job of painting of rearranging my argument to sound different than I actually stated it, but in the broad strokes, that is my argument.
Okay.
People should have a basic, or not should, they do generally have a basic understanding of the policy platforms, and that the difference is between the systemic racism thing and Donald Trump at the ellipse is that Democrats are offering solutions. If you look at if you look at their websites, if you look at their policy positions, they are offering solutions.
Trump offered
within
solutions
the government
as well. Yeah, Trump offered solutions
but
as well.
But by the time at the ellipse,
where he said be peaceful. Hey, Silent Zero, thanks for the super chat. Real quick, thanks for the super chat for $5. For the love of God, tell him to stop saying like. I tried.
I can't stop. I'm sorry. Listen, I will get over it.
Did I make fun of you last time for saying like a bunch of times too?
What?
Did I make fun of you last time for saying?
I don't think you. I think our debate.
I vaguely remember doing
that. I think our debate last time was a lot less. I think I was much more reserved. I was.
So you said like less? You get when you're.
No, I think I did. I did say like more, but I think you would have felt very mean. And I think I told you how old I was, and I was younger. I think obviously.
Are you at least an adult?
I am an adult.
Okay, thank you.
That's okay to yell at me.
Okay, next question. You seem to think that a lie is...
Wait, before we go to the next question, can I... Hold on,
sure.
Just give me like 1 minute. I need water.
We haven't even got into Maxine Waters when she's seeing riots occurring, saying these things should occur. Kamala Harris saying they're taking it to the street and this needs to happen, continue to happen when we saw that riots were occurring. AOC saying that these things should have happened and it kept happening. Kamala Harris putting out a bail fund. Haven't even got into any of that, but that's okay. You can see the point. It's beating a dead horse at this point. It's always this. Trump didn't say be violent. They always claim that Trump's an evil man, so even when he says be peaceful, they know that he meant be violent, and they have these double standards. But when you get them to outline their standards, you could see how immediately the very politicians they cheer for violate the same standards. Now he's in the enviable position of already having conceded that today Joe Biden incited violence and called for violence.
I'm
a
fine
month
with
after
admitting.
an assassination attempt.
I'm fine with admitting that he incited to violence because when he incited to violence, he's correct that Trump is a fascist, that he acts like a fascist.
Okay, so you're okay with an incitement to violence as long as the incitement is coming from a place of being correct?
Yeah, because
Okay.
I mean, I think you agree with that too. Like,
No, I don't.
Like in my slave example, would you not think it's correct that like telling the people who are about to become slaves that these people are coming to enslave you and you should fight back against them? Is that not a correct thing to
If
do?
you tell someone to physically fight, that's clearly different. But I don't think telling someone the truth can get you labeled as inciting violence.
But that is inciting violence.
I disagree. If you say they're coming
I'm sorry.
If you say they're personally coming right now, men with arms are coming right now to rape your wife, to take your children, and to sell you into slavery, you need to get guns and fight them. Yes, that is an incitement to violence that, if true, I would say would be justifiable to do so. If you say white men will eventually come here and they're going to try to enslave you and take away your land, no, I don't think that's an incitement to violence.
I think that absolutely, because if someone came to my door and told me and showed me proof that like your neighbor is going to come over and steal all your stuff, I'm going to be like, okay, I'm going to go fight him.
Courts Mankind for $5, thanks so much, says, put Kamala's enemy, Tulsi Gabbard, on the terror watch list for speaking against Kamala. That's 100% fascism. Yeah, she does seem to be on a terror watch list. Nonetheless, so you've just given the rationale. And the problem is, your truths are going to be subjective. And so what you've just done is gave the rationale for when incitement and violence can be used.
Of course they're going to be subjective.
Right.
But
so
we agree
no, we don't agree.
Some things in society. Like, if someone's going to come and do violence against you, like slavery, like raping your wife, then you probably have a right to, like,
direct self-defense is different than political violence. Now, given that you said if something's truthful, so now we're at this. We'll talk about this in a second, but I have a question for you. Given that you said that you're okay with incitement to violence, brief side question. So then you're also okay with violence if it's for a true purpose that's necessary.
Yes.
So just to be clear, you think that, let's say Donald Trump wins the election, it would be okay to commit violence against him, correct? Because he is a fascist.
Yeah, I think it probably, like, Donald Trump acting like a fascist, absolutely.
At the time when that bullet skimmed by his ear, he was clearly the front runner for president, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that bullet should have killed him?
Am I allowed to say that?
Hey man, I don't mind if you say it. Go for it.
Well, yeah, I would have rather if that went through his skull.
You think the assassin did a good thing?
Well, I think he did the bad thing by missing. But if the alternate scenario happened, then yes.
Okay. See ya. Fucking fascist. Notice the people that call you fascist and call their opponents fascist are those people. Now, remember when I was, after Destiny was going on his Piers Morgan shtick and all that, and I said, you understand how radical some of his younger supporters are? You understand? Now do you see what I'm talking about? You see what I'm talking about? Do you see? They just have the balls to come out and say it. Thanks so much, Frank. There's a guy so certain of his convictions that he's willing to call for the assassination of a political figure that he doesn't like. Thanks so much for the following. And the guy fucking rambled and meandered and couldn't get 2 words out straight the entire time. Thanks, The Cut, for his $5 super chat. Love the destruction. You mind giving some thoughts on Kennedy? Seems like him and Trump have some similar policies. I like Kennedy. I think he's bad when it comes to the Second Amendment. But I ultimately think Kennedy's more of like a free thinker, like what I want. Even if there are specific policies I don't like about him, I still think he's directionally coming in the right way and is calling out corruption. Yeah. So those are the sorts of people that are out there. I know that Trump's a fascist. It's okay. Biden incited violence against him today. And I think that the assassin did a good thing trying to kill him. It was just bad that he missed. Sends forward for $4.99. Missed a super chat or two. One was from Richie. Oh, shit. Let me pull up YouTube and see if I can still find those. Is there a way if I pull up YouTube? Richie, how you doing, man? It's been a while. All right, let's see if I can find a way to pull super chats up. Thank you for letting me know, Zen. Absolute psychopaths. All right. Travis Rice, Jesus, I feel like I watched the Yankees beat up on a T-ball team. Thank you. I hope I'm the Yankees in that scenario. Okay, Zen got, who's this one from? Love the Destruction got, is there a way to see super chats? One second, I know this is bad, but is there a way that I can see super chats? I can super chat myself. There's gotta be, right? Fan funding. There we go. There we go. I think I found it. All right. Pinkerton for $24 says, or what? Like black are people that don't know what a computer is, or they don't know where the DMV is, or they have no concept of the internet, as Democratic politicians have been saying this forever. This destiny cuck is cooked, right? Richie, thank you so much for $5. Says poverty has skyrocketed for blacks since the Civil Rights Act. Absolutely true. Now, quality of life in many instances has gone up just because of technological advances and other things, but poverty's gone. Silent Zero for $5 says, for the love of God, tell him to stop saying like. Yeah. Richie says, Rob for $5. Rob, you mislike the other super chats. Yeah. It's true. I did. Okay, I think I'm caught up. Thank you, everyone. You guys are the best. Richie, it's been a while. Enjoy hearing from you. Wow, I'm glad that I brought that guy on. You know, it's crazy. I'll forget. 2 years from now, that guy will reach out to me and say, "Hey, you want to talk?" And I'll forget that. No, I don't want to talk with someone. A precursor to having conversation with me, as I've said many times, is not calling for the assassination attempt of politicians that you don't like. That's a precursor. So he does not meet that precursor. He's no longer welcome on this show. Am I allowed to say it? Sure, I allow you, big boy. Have at her. Now, he says he was young, but he's an adult. Imagine being that confident of yourself that you're willing to cheer on the assassination of someone. And having no life experience, and basically getting objectively blown out in this conversation with me. So much so where he repeatedly has to say, give me a minute to think. Give me a minute to gather my thoughts. Pinkerton for $5.99 says, also big fan, Rob. Keep fighting the good fight. Oh no, I just told Rob to commit violence. Right. Thank you. Appreciate the kind words and the donation. Thank you. Lecture Fan, my friend, my goodness, let's talk about Lecture Fan for a minute. Oh my goodness, I did a stream about you the other day and I forgot to tag you. But by the end of the stream, you got your channel back. Lecture Fan, if you guys aren't following, I don't know that he live streams on YouTube, which is where the majority of people, thank you so much for the follow, baby manners, where the majority of people follow me. He's the OG conservative on Twitch. And it helps that he's a good one too. He's a lawyer, he's fantastic. I think that he's a good debater. I think that he's not an insane, crazy person, which always helps. That's right out of the gate. The amount of political streamers that aren't insane, crazy people is like 5% of us. So LectureFan's a great guy. He hosts a talk show, a radio talk show in Montana from time to time, which I've been a guest on. I think he's phenomenal. I think as good of a streamer as he's even a better radio talk show host. I think that if he ever gets tired of lawyering, he would have a fantastic career in that. I just think the way he facilitates a conversation on that platform is second to none. I thought he was fantastic in it. Makes it very easy to go on his show. Like if you are the type of person that would be nervous talking to someone on the radio, he just makes it completely smooth. He got banned the other day off Twitch for some garbage reasons, but luckily within 8 hours or so, I don't know exactly how long, they seem to have given him his channel back. So congrats, LectureFan. It sucks that you have to go through that crap, but I'm glad you got your channel back. For LectureFan's audience, if you're just joining us, we had a Destiny fan call in and say that Donald Trump incited violence on January 6th. We were talking about the clip of Joe Biden from today or yesterday saying that he wanted to beat their Project 25 is to beat the hell out of them, assumingly Trump and his audience. And within 3 minutes, I got this Destiny fan to admit that, yes, that was a call to violence for Biden. And after some hemming and hawing about systemically racism, he said that he's actually okay with inciting violence against Trump because Trump's a fascist and that he wishes the assassin would have killed Trump. So thank you so much, Janet. We promptly got that person off the stream because it is a precursor for conversation with me that you do not call for political violence against your opponent, especially assassination attempts. Cody H, thanks so much for the super chat for $5. Says, gonna get more baked than my dinosaur-shaped chicken nuggets and watch the rest of this video tomorrow. Good thrash, bro. I'm glad that I could help out the stoners as well. I used to amuse stoners all the time. Super chat for $2. Lexus, thank you. Please don't judge me because of people like him. I don't. I think the overwhelming majority of Destiny's fans, even if they dislike me, even if they think I'm bad faith, whatever, I don't think they would go that far. But the problem is Destiny's playing with fire because he knows that there are people within his community that are like that. And for me, again, not to keep rehashing this on Destiny, but he admitted that that's where he comes from. He's a Destiny community person. And I had said that the one comment, Destiny wants to make fun of this firefighter that got killed. I think it's terrible, but whatever. I don't care. I'm not policing people's jokes or whatever. The one comment, though, that caused me to raise an eyebrow was when Destiny Orbiter Pisco calls on and says, did you want that bullet to kill Trump? And he's like, I don't know what I'm allowed to say. Well, the worst thing that could have happened was that he shot at him and missed. Thank you, Deadly Waffle, for the sub. I appreciate it. And I was like, hey, man, you got to be careful saying shit like that. Because if someone sent me links from Destiny's Reddit channel, and there's a bunch of fucking unhinged lunatics like that caller that just called in. They're like, yeah, we tried to stop Trump through legal means and it didn't work. So now we got to use violence. Cold slice of bread. I'm not sure if I understand the question. It says, substance aside from it, but still feel confident in their newfound conviction enough to hop on the debate with you or anyone else. I mean, I guess he was confident. I'm sorry, did I miss the first part of that? I think it's interesting how people can watch others like Destiny, Hassan, etc., and get emotional in the moment while watching them and take literally nothing or of substance away from it, but still feel confident. Yeah, I agree. So I mean, that's the sort of people that we're dealing with. They accuse you of being a fascist, so therefore any violence is justified against you. All right. Let's see. Anyone else? Any other lefty want to call in? What? I hesitate to read someone's DM, so I won't read the whole thing, but I'll give the gist of it. That person that just said he wishes Trump could be assassinated was like, hey, man, I still think you're good faith. Sorry the conversation ended like that. Fuck you, man. Cool, man. You think I'm good faith. Fuck off. You're a terrible person. Terrible. I don't give a shit if you think I'm a good debater or good faith. Fuck you. I don't think you understand how serious I am about this. You just came on a platform and called for the assassination of the guy running for Republican president, the nominee for president for the Republican side. Get help. You shouldn't be consuming online media if that's how extreme you are. You shouldn't be calling into my show or any other show. Go see a therapist. Go hang out with your family or loved ones. He agreed with it and didn't call for it. Fair enough. Though he did say, I said, if you think Trump's going to win, do you think violence against him would be justified? And he said yes. Aircraft Sparky for $10. You're absolutely correct about Biden. Destiny's Little called her insane. No step on snack. Yeah. But I'm glad you thought it was a cool conversation. Whatever, dude. Like, these people are insane. Message request. What's this guy? Hello. Hi. Okay. Friend request. What's up? Any other person want to call in and disagree with me? I promise I won't be super mean as long as you're not calling for assassination attempts. All right, Sparky, good. When's that again? When's that debate? We'll get to that. Yeah, they're probably more confused than insane. What are my abortion takes? Not good. I think that probably, I hesitate to say the morning after pill should be illegal, but I'm pretty much pro-life. I think there's probably a place for early term abortions. I might disagree with them, but I don't know that we'll ever get to a place where you can make those illegal, so I'm okay with some compromise there. But clearly there's a point once we say that it's a human life, there's a certain point that we would say that it should be illegal to have them afterwards. No, I'm not really pro-abortion. Pro-abolition. Have I seen who blew up the Nord Stream pipeline? Yeah, supposedly the UK or Ukraine and Zelensky, but I'm sure the CIA gave him the go-ahead. What's that, Sparky? I'll call you this weekend. Okay. So, yeah, I'll be debating this person next week, Doghouse Talk Show. Saturday, I'll be debating the smartest person ever on COVID, Elder Drazi, and his many subtopics with his fantastic, unbiased moderator, Tom Foolery. Great. Yeah, I'm almost guaranteeing the CIA was in on it. What do I think of Nick Fuentes? Not much. I don't know much about him. I've interacted with some of his dumber supporters, but that's okay. I don't blame him for that. All I know about Nick Fuentes is what other people say about Nick Fuentes, and I try not to judge people based on that because people call me a Nazi and a fascist, and I'm not any of those things, so I don't know if that's true about Nick. I think he seems charismatic. He seems like a smart guy. He seems like a good speaker. He's able to draw a following. That's all cool, I guess. Some of the things I hear about them, if they are true, like by no means am I a white nationalist. I don't respect that position if that's what he is. So I don't know, but I don't have much to say other than that. I guess I'd be willing to talk to him and give him a fair shake, but I've heard people say he's a Fed. I don't know if that's true. I haven't really seen evidence of that, but what time is it? 9:30. Another thing I thought was funny today is now there's stories coming out about, actually it turns out the New York Times did a piece on Hunter Biden was lobbying for Burisma. No, Hall of Speech, I didn't read your emails. I talk about Igor Dushenko all the time. I will get to that email, I promise. Igor Dushenko is something that I've talked about quite frequently. So to defend myself a little, I really do appreciate when people give me debate advice, but oftentimes I think people fail to realize how difficult a debate could be. And so I could do the same thing. Like if I watch Aircraft Sparky debate Sneed McFeed here, I'll probably, as I'm watching, come up, I would say this. For example, when I watched Andrew Wilson versus Destiny, I'm like, here's a ton of things Andrew Wilson could say. That's the nature of it. When you're in the middle of the discussion, sometimes it's hard to come up with every single argument. I think I'm pretty good at it. I think Andrew's pretty good at it as well, coming up with the right arguments at the right time. But one of the things like that 5-hour debate with Destiny, I don't think people realized what happened there. I was debating under the assumption, I hate to even read it again. I'll make this as quick as possible. Destiny pissed his pants and cried, as did his audience, because they felt that Andrew Wilson didn't debate the prompt when Andrew Wilson debated them, because he didn't give a definition of insurrection. And Andrew didn't do that because Andrew knows that the whole game from the Democrats is to say, hey, we're just seeing whether or not this is technically an insurrection. There could be good insurrections. There could be bad insurrections. We just want to talk about the term insurrection. That's all we care about. The semantics of what is the definition of the term insurrection. That's all we care. That's all we want to talk about. And Andrew's like, no, you want to do that so that if you get a yes, then you could justify your dogshit position that was basically, and we're okay with the fact that a Trump supporter got shot and that there was an assassination attempt on Trump and Trump should be thrown in prison. And anyone who supports Trump is fucking around and finding out if they get shot because they're supporting an insurrectionist, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Andrew Wilson's 100% right. That's what occurred. So that's what happened in that debate. But I said, you know what? I'll talk to Destiny and I'll let him have all the talk he wants about what is the definition of insurrection. That's fine. But as a precursor to having that discussion, I'll say, I want equal time to talk about how you use this as a double standard. Both you and the Democratic Party use this as a double standard. He said, yes, that's fine. Great, grand. Okay. Then for 4 hours and some change, we talked about the definitions. I got to talk briefly about the double standard. The first thing I mentioned was Vietnam, which was just sort of an off-the-cuff thing. We talked about that for 10 minutes, then went back to talking about the Colorado court decision on definitions. Then he rage quit. I've got a ton of advice that was like, but Rob, why didn't you say that Kamala Harris issued a bail fund? I would have said that. Why didn't you say that Black Lives Matter burned down a precinct? Why didn't you bring up May 31st that Black Lives Matter rioted outside the White House and burned down federal buildings and was attacking the White House? Why didn't you say the Battle of Athens? That one I didn't know that much about. Why didn't you say this, this, and this? Well, because I had 10 minutes is the bulk of the reason why I didn't say what you wanted me to say. That's the easiest way I could put it. Outside being a citizen, okay, so I will take questions, why not? Outside being a citizen, qualifications, knowledge, do you believe a person should have before voting? Well, legally and what you should are two different questions. If you are completely uninformed and you know it, you probably shouldn't vote. You shouldn't vote just because you feel it's the right thing to do. It's not. You should try to inform yourself. You should have a reason for your vote. Now, that reason may be wildly different from mine, but you should have a reason. And you should inform yourself if you're a good citizen, you should inform yourself to some degree. Travis Rice for $5, thank you. For the I think you should leave reference the other night, I missed it live. I love my wife. She helped me too when I freaked out about Jamie Taco. Thank you, Travis. That damn Jamie Taco, he's a menace. It's a great sketch. How do you make an informed vote? Well, it depends on what your issue is. Ask yourself what you think is the most important when it comes to politics in your life. Maybe it's abortion. Okay, then do your due diligence to everyone that's going to be on the ballot for you to at least look into what their positions on those things are. You can go a step further and say, well, are they honest or are they just saying, what's their record? But that's not necessarily what you need to do. Not everyone's going to have that level of interest. But you should think at least, what is the reason I'm voting? What's the big reason? And then try to look into both sides and see what is. Legally, I think there should be a small barrier to voting. Which should be that you have to vote in person unless you have a medical reason or some other like military reason why you can't. That is barrier enough. That is a barrier. We could argue as whether or not there should be more barriers, but I think we should start there. Because if you're too lazy or incapable of getting up to the polling station the day of election, then you're probably not informing yourself. Oh. 2:36 a.m. Where the hell are you at? Yeah, good night, man. Anyways, now we can talk about why did the FBI and the Garland administration sit on the obvious evidence of Hunter Biden illegally foreign lobbying? Why did they sit on that? Why is that information only now being released after Joe Biden's not running again? Yeah, I think, Robert, you mentioned the Battle of Athens to me, and I looked into it like one paragraph, but not confident enough to talk about it, really. Yeah, it definitely should not be an electronic ballot. Totally agree with that. Republic of Ireland. I've always wanted to go to Ireland, especially the old drunken me wanted to go to an Irish pub. And I've known some people that went that said it's beautiful. Maybe I'll make it someday. I've only ever been outside the country once for like 2 days, and that was to Niagara Falls in Canada, which is literally as close to getting out of the country as I could be, because the other side of Niagara Falls is on Erie, and I live like 2 hours from Erie. So, yeah. Of course it's leverage to keep Joe in check, but it was also, they can admit it. Oh, okay, now it doesn't matter. Haven't caught you for a while. What is my views on the British government rulings against anti-immigration protesters? It's the future that we're all looking at. It is the globalist future. They despise people that have civic pride in their nation. They want a globalist system, and one of the biggest impediments to that are native citizens in first world countries. And so they seek to make everyone dependent on the government and to make people pliant by bringing people into the country that don't have an affinity for the foundation of the country or the sort of history of the country. And so it's obvious that the governments of the UK, other first world countries, Canada's and other, actually hate their citizens. They hate them. Solzhenitsyn has a fantastic quote about this. Let me see if I can bring it up. I talk about this quote a lot. Here's the quote from Solzhenitsyn, who wrote the Gulag Archipelago. Your punishment for having a knife when they searched you would be very different from the thief's. For him to have a knife was mere misbehavior, tradition. He didn't know any better. But for you to have one was terrorism. That's what's going on right now in the UK. When an immigrant does something incredibly heinous, well, they didn't really know better. We should pity them. But if you tweet out about how it pisses you off, you're a terrorist, and you get the book thrown at you. Mr. Miss Brilliant Pivot have Rob. Did I pivot? Or am I misunderstanding what you're saying? Richie, I missed again for $5. I've been trying to make a strong rhetorical point, but YouTube won't let me say the mean words. Unrelated. Rest in peace, Susan. Press says, good job. Wojcicki, is that her name? Susan Wojcicki. I think I could guess the point. Let me make sure I didn't miss any other super chats. Okay, I think I'm good. Anybody challenge in on the Discord yet? Nope. Now, tomorrow I don't know that I'll be streaming because hopefully we're going to take our man to the zoo. Yeah, the other ground I know of as well. I didn't... The problem is I didn't know the specific protests that they were at. And this is one of the things. I'll say this. I could sort of see Destiny's point that you want to know a specific incident before you say, does this meet my definition, etc. The problem is most instances aren't named. So like Charlottesville is a named right-wing rally that had instances of violence. What is Portland Day 14? Remember we saw riots in Portland for like dozens of weeks? What am I supposed to... They don't really have a name. Like the Chaz Zone has a name. Minneapolis, night 1, when they burnt down the police precinct. But notice how it doesn't have a name. When we have right-wing acts of violence, they're almost always January 6th. Charlottesville. Because the media crafts that narrative to where it's in everyone's head. So if you say Charlottesville was an insurrection, everybody knows what Charlottesville was. But if you say the protest at Vietnam that got violent, where? Give me the specific one. Well, there were probably dozens, but give me the specific. So I guess you could say Kent State, the ones at Berkeley, the Pentagon riots. But it's difficult on the top of your head to bring those up. What was I looking for? Oh, here. I still can't believe we got that guy to admit that he wanted Trump to be assassinated. Just crazy. I mean, and again, I take no pleasure in that. I really don't. It's shitty to know that you're dealing with people that are that unhinged. I don't know if I could see this Himmy person. Oh, there they are. Again, notice how people, where does it say there has to be an ongoing federal proceeding in any of the definitions of the people I've been debating have said of insurrection? Not once. Runder the First, thank you so much for Super Chat for $5. The act of defense versus attack. When is attacking okay? They blur the lines nowadays with double standards. I don't mean in an act of defense. Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to even talk about, not just for terms of service, but in general, you should default to not calling for violence. And I do that quite vehemently, probably better than, or at least more thoroughly than almost any other streamer. But certainly, there's double standards that are employed in these sort of things where they'll always justify their stance. Well, our threat is so big, therefore we're justified in violence against them, up to and including assassinations. Lethal violence. But yours never are. Your issues aren't important, so you would never be justified in it. Yeah, he called other people incels, yeah. You know why they didn't teach you about the Bolsheviks? Any other specific things? If not, I might bump out. I hate to leave you all early. I do. But I hear my man downstairs, my son. I'd happily argue with some fool. I would have sat here with that Scatman John guy all night. I was having fun. It's easy to run someone through the ringer. But I'm not going to platform someone calling for assassinations or defending them. I will be with my family. Yeah, I guess we'll have to clip that. Got to get a hold of my man, Black Elk. By the way, special shout out to my editor, Black Elk. I think he's doing a phenomenal job. Thank you, Black Elk. Try to put videos up every day in the morning on YouTube, little clips. He clipped the hell out of that debate I had with Destiny, so, that's good stuff. You're killing me, Smalls. Oh, now. Ooh. Now, I know that's quoting. We're quoting movies there, but a good friend of mine, that used to be a quote we share with him. Half off speech. I don't know you in real life, do I? You'll know if you are who I think you are. Yeah, Black Elk's cool. Sandlot, that was it. Yeah. Let's see. Before I go, maybe we can do this. Why don't we watch some great robnoerr content? Let's go to my channel and find an old video that we could watch that I'm sure is great. Oh, let's see. Remember this one? Oh, this is one of the shitty ones I did on TikTok, because the reason I do TikTok videos is because they subtitle for me, or they caption for me, which I'm too lazy to do myself. So look at this scraggly bastard. Hey, did you see that the pro-Palestinian protesters made their way outside of Chuck Schumer's house and they got arrested? And you might say, well, that's good. These people were unhinged. Whatever. I don't care about their message. It's the left creating monsters on the left. They don't have a problem with them, with those monsters on the left are going after right-wing people. If they're chasing right-wingers or Christian or white people or men or conservatives off of college campuses standing out front of their house, they're fine with that. But all of a sudden they have a huge problem when it's redirected at the leaders on the left in the Democratic Party. And so I just want to ask Chuck Schumer, why would these people protesting outside your home be arrested? Would you say that you reaped the whirlwind? Is that what you would say? Because when you called for people to go after Brett Kavanaugh, and then people, which it was against the law to protest outside of a judge's house, went outside that house, surprisingly no one was arrested. The only person that was arrested was someone that had an assassination attempt on Kavanaugh. And you would think surely after that you would see the severity of this, and people like Chuck Schumer, who called and said that there would be a whirlwind that would be reaped, as far as I'm concerned, based on the logic of the Democrats, incited violence. You would think that he would speak up and start to arrest these protesters outside these court justices' homes. No, he was completely fine with it. As always, it's hierarchy. You could protest, you could harass, you could harangue people that those in the establishment, particularly the Democratic Party, don't like. They're absolutely fine with it. But as soon as the monster they've created turns on them, they won't hesitate to use the very police that they've called to defund to go after those same protesters and keep themselves safe. So just so you know where you stand. And for those of you on the left that are upset with the Israeli direction that our government goes, just know that if you step out of line, the establishment will send the police after you as well. You thought it was cool, you had immunity when you were going after people on the right, but I assure you, the Democrats won't play the same game. They'll throw you in jail for attacking them. Well, look at that look. There's a good look. Favorite Seinfeld episode? Oh, I don't know. I love the George opposite episode's really good. The Calzone from Paisanos is one of my favorite. What do I think of UFOs? I don't know. Probably stuff that's seriously hidden, but I haven't done enough research into it. But I'm sure that our institutions would want to cover that up. Any other? Yeah, I forgot about that. It's amazing how much stuff I forget that I cover. But that whole Brett Kavanaugh reaped the whirlwind, I remember that. But oh yeah, when the Palestinian protesters came outside Schumer's house, they arrested them. When they were outside for days, Kavanaugh's house didn't have much to say. Here's a little bit of me debating Destiny on January 6th previously. I will steelman your position again. Your position is as follows. The FBI was aware that, and other agencies, I think you'll agree, that's what's been testified to, that other agencies in the FBI were aware that there was going to be some amount of people, we'll call it a small amount of people, that were going to be involved in a violent attempt to overthrow the government. They were also aware that there was going to be a massive rally with potentially hundreds of thousands of people that was helping elsewhere in D.C., right? They changed, this isn't part of your argument, but I don't think you dispute this. They changed the way their policies traditionally happen and chose not to share that intelligence with Stephen's son. And your belief is the reason they did that was because they thought it was just a handful of people and it wasn't worth it. Then January 6th occurs and the people start going and it starts getting violent. The National Guard's right there. Stephen's son's begging, please, please, please send me National Guard people. My people are being beaten up. We need to protect the Capitol. He's calling a chain of command and he's being repeatedly told, well, we can't do this for optics. And your argument is that's what you believe, that these people testified to that. And the reason was they were confused of the on-the-ground situation and they were afraid it would make them look bad for the National Guard to be deployed at the Capitol because potentially it could look like Trump mobilizing the military or something. Is that a fair summation of your argument?
Yeah, close enough. Yeah.
Okay. My argument is that I think that is not the most likely scenario, because I refuse to believe that competent people that have been career people involved in defense, whether it be in the military, whether it be people that are in the FBI and things like that, one, they would have beforehand, if they had what they thought was credible information that people were going to try to violently overthrow the government, they would have done more than usual, not less than usual, to relay that evidence to the people tasked with security. And secondly, the people that were charged with defense, when they saw a violent mob getting into the Capitol that they were worried was going to hurt government officials, would have done more to make sure that every personnel possible be there, instead of being more concerned about optics. I refuse to believe that they said, well, we think that these people might get in and they may literally hurt members of Congress, but we're more concerned about optics. I think that would require such a level of incompetence and stupidity of these officials that it beggars belief that could be the case. And I think my explanation is much more plausible. You can see it's never gone well for Destiny versus me. It just never has. He don't do so well. That's Destiny's argument. Yep. People at these intelligence agencies just chose to allow January 6th to occur, even though they had evidence that an insurrection was about to occur, because of optics. Let's find someone to raid on Twitch. The debate with Elder Drazi and me is supposed to be Saturday evening on COVID and whatever the hell else. I don't know. I guess the topics he wants to talk about specifically within COVID are Trump administration response to COVID outbreak in the U.S. in the beginning, vaccines efficacy, safety, etc., lockdowns, COVID treatment, any other subtopics, and Tom Foolery will be the moderator. Okay, great. I'm probably not going to talk about most of those topics, or some of them. I'm going to be like, I don't really give a shit to talk about Trump. You want to say you think Trump did poor at the beginning? I agree. He shouldn't have embraced lockdowns. Next. But I am talking about the most informed. Elder Drazi, the guy I'm debating, claims to be the most informed person about COVID. Also, I don't know what he thinks on vaccine efficacy. What's my argument on vaccines ever been? Forcing them on people was bad. I personally believe, probably at least for elder people with severe comorbidities, the vaccine probably was beneficial. If you have COPD and you're 78 years old, yeah, the side effects that you could get from COVID probably aren't as severe as the chance of you getting COVID and dying. What I was against was forcing COVID onto like younger, healthier people, or vaccines onto younger and healthier people. First L take I've heard. Well, I'd be willing to debate you on it if you feel strongly about that. I think that was a mistake that people made without science behind them. I don't think that the statistics I saw suggested that people, elderly people specifically, that were getting the COVID vaccine were dying more from getting the vaccine than from COVID itself. But I'm open to hearing. Yeah, that's the guy all in turkey poop. Let's go to Twitch. Raid someone.
I'm hiding.
Now she's like playing hide and seek.
I was very clear that I never wanted to tell people to take the vaccine or not. I thought that you should make your own choice up. I'm just against the government forcing it on people. That's all. Oh, give me a second here. Still can't get over this guy called. Am I allowed to say that I wanted Trump to die? Oh. Yeah, sure, dude. You're allowed to say that. What the fuck? Unreal. All right. Who we raiding here? Who's on? Dylan Burns. No thanks. Oh, Ranger and Rogue. Why not? Yeah, Ranger and Rogue's good. Oops, gotta spell raid right. Supposedly you could raid people on YouTube. I don't know how to do it. Or, yeah. All right, so I probably won't be streaming tomorrow night because we're going to try to take Hank somewhere fun since I only get like a day or two off a week. So we're going to try like maybe a zoo or an arcade or a movie or something like that. And I might stream, but I don't want to make any promise that I'm going to stream and then us not be here. Contemporary Compendium, thanks for $2, says the C19 poke has a negative efficacy, Rex immunity. Possibly. So, all right. So the next you'll see me is probably 7 p.m. Saturday doing the COVID debate, which I'll be incredibly ill prepared for. That's okay. All right. Thanks so much, everyone. I appreciate all of you. Thank you to everyone that donated. Thank you to everyone that dislikes me or likes me, particularly those that like me, though. Don't forget to give a thumbs up if you're on YouTube or something before I close out here. It would really help me on the algorithm. I'm really thankful that my channel's been growing somewhat. It really does mean a lot. And so I thank you guys a lot. I hope you all are liking the content. I really do. And I'm glad. Hopefully I could entertain you a little. And also I'm saying some things that you like politically. I really hope that's the case. So, all right, everyone. Enjoy this raid if you're on Twitch. The rest of you, have a good one.